Hey friends, welcome to today's video. I have a good one for you today. I am so excited. Today I'm going to be putting two foundations to the test, but not any two foundations. Today I'm going to be testing two foundations that I love them both, and these would be foundations I would go to for mature skin. If I were doing makeup on someone with mature skin, someone, with skin over the age of 40 or skin with texture that wanted natural looking coverage but good coverage and something that would last all day, these two foundations would pop in my head. So I thought it would be fun to put them to the test. Let's wear one on one side, one on the other, and see how they perform throughout the day. Now you're probably wondering what foundations I'm talking about. So let me share those, shall I? Okay, the first one is the Nars Light Reflecting Foundation. This is a recent love. I fell in love with this foundation when it launched. This launched within the last 6 months, right? It's a newer foundation. And the next one is the Makeup Forever Reboot Foundation. And we don't hear a whole lot about this one. I know Makeup Forever launched a new foundation. I love this one and I prefer this one. So I was really kind of thinking that these had a lot of similarities when I was, kind of remembering what they felt like on the skin, what they look like on the skin, and how they wore throughout the day. They both seem to kind of align up with being exceptional. So I thought we would put them to the test. Now, before we get started, I did get on Sephora and I wanted to kind of, share the benefits, the coverage, all that stuff with you guys. And I was actually a little surprised to learn that these are marketed a little bit differently. So before we get started in the application, I did want to kind of just share how these foundations are described on Sephora.com. I actually expected them to have the same coverage, finish, all this kind of same benefits and marketing pieces, but they were actually a little bit different. So the Nars Light Reflecting Foundation retails for $49. It is described as being medium but buildable coverage, having a natural finish. It is also described as blurring, smoothing out pores and texture in the skin. So pores, fine lines, not like deep set wrinkles, it's not really gonna do anything there, but if you have really fine lines, it can kind of help create the illusion of more smoothness on the skin. Let's see, what else did they say? I have my little notes right here. Okay, that's it, I hit all the points that they said. And I would agree with all of those. When I think about this foundation, I do imagine getting good medium coverage, having a natural finish, and my skin just looking flawless. So I would agree with that. Now, when I picked up and searched for Makeup Forever Reboot, I expected it to be the same coverage, same finish, but actually this is marketed a little bit different. So this one retails for $40. It is described as having light coverage, and that actually surprised me because I feel like I get a fair amount of coverage from this foundation. Now, I have pretty good skin. I don't really need to cover a lot. So this foundation gives me the coverage that I need. Perhaps if you have, more discoloration or acne or anything that you want to cover that's more discolored, then, you might need something with a little more coverage, but I feel like this gives pretty great coverage. I was surprised that it was light coverage, to be honest. They recommend this for dry or normal skin, but they didn't have oily skin on the list. This was recommended for all skin types. Now, this finish is described as being radiant, so that's probably why they don't have oily skin as the recommended skin type for this. Now, I would personally describe this as a natural radiance on the skin. I think especially if you're applying it on someone with dry skin, I would expect this to be more of a natural radiance, meaning it's not going to look overly pearlescent or dewy or glowy or wet looking. This also had long wearing under one of the bullet points of benefits for this foundation, and I would absolutely agree with that. However, I would agree with that for this one too. I was surprised not to see the claim of long wearing on the website. And this was an Allure Best in Beauty winner. Little fun fact. Okay, so what I have on my skin right now, I just have my normal skincare. I'm currently using for a moisturizer. I've been using a Peter Thomas Roth moisturizer. I have got Elastin, my mineral sunscreen, which has a tiny bit of a tint. So I'm gonna apply the Nars Light Reflecting on the right side, and I'm just gonna do one pump. I don't expect to use the whole pump, especially since I'm doing just half of my face. I'm gonna use my BK Beauty 106 brush, and I just like to take a little bit on the tip of the brush. I always start in the center of the face. I know I say this all the time, but if you're new to my channel, you might not have heard it. I always start in the center of the face because that is where we tend to have the most discoloration. That's where the sun hits our face, so we tend to have more sunspots or sun damage there. Also, we just tend to have more blemishes there. So I always start there because the first place you put your brush is where you're going to deposit the most product. Once I get out here to the perimeter of my face, I have less on my brush, which means I have less to blend out, which means I get more of a seamless blend. I feel like I'm talking like a million miles a minute. I will take a deep breath and slow down. Once I get to the perimeter, I kind of buff in little circles. This is why I love the 106, because I love to buff. When people ask the difference between the 101 and 106, you know, our 101 is our best selling brush. I'm the creator of BK Beauty brushes, by the way, if you're new to my channel and you're like, what is she talking about? If you like to like press and stipple and then buff, the 106 is a great shape for that. The 101 is our best selling brush and it has longer fibers at the tip. So it's going to do a great job of like shearing out product using the tip if you want a more natural application, but you can still build it with the base of the brush to get coverage. So it's pretty versatile in that sense. Oh my gosh, I had 1 cup of coffee today. That is it, you guys, I promise. All right, let's focus back to the video here in the topic at hand. So I am getting some radiance to the skin. I was surprised that the Nars was described as a natural finish. I mean, even though it looks natural on the skin, it to me has a bit of a glow. Do you see that glow when the light hits it? Light reflecting, that's what's happening. You're seeing the light reflecting and giving a little bit of a glow. This is the coverage you get and this is the finish. Let me do a pump of the Makeup Forever Reboot. Actually, you know what I didn't do? Let me do another pump of the Nars because I would like you guys to see the consistency so you can compare the two. So this is the Nars and this is the Makeup Forever. So you can see the consistency of the two. You can see that both are slowly sliding down the hand, and I show you that to give you an idea of the consistency. They're not a very thick liquid. If it were very thick, it would just sit there and it wouldn't move, but they're not watery either, because if it was watery, it would slide down much quicker. So it's a very nice, lightweight consistency. All right, let's go in here with the Makeup Forever. I'm gonna do the same technique, just picking up on the tip. You know what, actually, let me kind of wipe my brush off, because I know some of you might say, well, you've got some Nars still on your brush. So I'm doing a really good job kind of getting all the foundation off my brush. It's actually a really good time to talk about our fibers in our brushes. So our fibers, one of the benefits of using synthetic fibers over natural hair fibers is synthetic fibers are not as porous as natural hair. The porous cuticle of a natural fiber is what absorbs a lot of product. So it's great for natural hair because it helps pick up product, but it also absorbs a lot of your product. Synthetic brushes don't have that. They're cut and shaped in a way depending on the brush and its use. They are shaped and cut in a way to mimic a natural fiber and have that same cuticle to help you pick it up, or have that, you know, benefit of a cuticle. Does that make sense? To help you pick up product, but it's not going to absorb product like a natural fiber brush will. So sometimes when you see brushes marketed as like antibacterial, it's kind of a stretch, but it is basically because they don't hold on to product. It's a little more sanitary, but it's also great for your product because you're not using as much. That is one benefit to like a really premium synthetic fiber. So it's interesting. The Makeup Forever claims to be radiant while this Nars claims to be natural finish, but I feel like the Nars is much more noticeably radiant. Do you see that? I mean, I still have a glow from here, but I feel like it's more subdued than the Nars. Another reason why I feel like synthetic fibers are better than natural fibers. There's this idea that natural fibers in the makeup community, and it's been around because 20 years ago they were superior over synthetic fibers for sure. But synthetic fibers have come such a long way over the last decade. There's been so much technology to help cut and shape synthetic fibers to perform just like natural fibers. But this is the biggest thing I feel like people don't know, is that natural fibers, natural animal hair fibers and brushes are so inconsistent. You know, if you think about it, it's a lot kind of like wine. You know, the quality of wine is dependent on the climate that year, you know, how much sun the grapes got, how much water the grapes got, all the quality of ingredients that, you know, harvested those grapes. It's kind of the same thing with animal hair. The quality of the animal's hair is dependent on the climate, you know, the quality of food that animal was fed, how much sun that animal got. The hair here on the neck is typically the best because it doesn't get exposed to as much sun. So there's a lot of inconsistencies. I say that because there's a lot of inconsistencies. So you might buy a natural brush one year, and then the next year you want to buy a duplicate because you love it, and it's going to be different than the one you bought the year before, potentially, where synthetics is so consistent. Just a little fun fact about makeup brush hair and synthetic versus natural. I think that's like the thing that, you know, I feel like that's one big misconception in the makeup industry is like natural hair versus synthetic. Again, 20 years ago it was superior. These days though, not always. I don't want to say it's not, because there are some incredibly quality natural fiber brushes, absolutely. But I just wanted, like, you know, to put that out there because I feel like people think this natural hair brush is going to be as good as this natural hair brush, and that's not the case. All right, you guys, so we are done in foundation. Now I'm looking in the mirror and they both look very similar. They both have a radiant finish. I feel like the Nars is a bit more radiant. The Nars claims to blur texture and fine lines and pores, and I do see some of that happening, but I feel like I see the same thing over here on the Makeup Forever. So I feel like the coverage is about the same. What do you guys think? Do you feel like I have more coverage on the Nars? This is supposed to be medium while this is supposed to be light. I think they look identical, to be honest. Let me go apply the rest of my makeup and I'll be right back. We're back. I have all my makeup on. So I did set my full face with the Physicians Formula Butter Believe It translucent powder. So this directly set both sides of my face. Looking in the mirror at this point, I can tell absolutely no difference in the two foundations. I think they both have the same amount of coverage and finish. One thing to keep in mind, even though the Makeup Forever is marketed as a light coverage foundation, if you wear a powder with any color or pigmentation, that's going to add another layer of coverage to it. So it's going to give you a little more coverage. Obviously the same thing on the Nars side. So think about the products that you use to set your foundation, the products that you apply over top of your foundation. You know, I've applied blush and bronzer, and all of those things add a little bit of layer and a little bit of coverage as well. So once I have everything on, I mean, there's really no difference, you guys. I guess I should take that back. I do notice one difference. I do feel like right here on the Nars Light Reflecting Foundation side, the light is reflecting a bit more, which gives the illusion of a bit more of a glow. So I do see that little bit of a glow right here, just a tad more like emphasized and dramatic than I do here. I still see like a little bit of radiance here, but this side does look to be a little bit more. Do you guys agree? Let me know in the comment section below if you see it or if I'm just completely crazy. Okay, you guys, so it is 11:20 a.m. I have a full day today. I will be doing, I'll be doing one check-in in a few hours, and then I'll do a check-in in the evening at the end of the day to see how the makeup, you know, wore throughout the day and if there's really any difference between the two. As I stand right now, I'm saying either one is just a perfect, beautiful option for mature skin, for a natural finish that lasts all day. But let's see. I feel like the real test is going to be to see how these perform throughout the day comparatively. I know they're both great foundations. I know that. I'm not expecting either of these to be a total train wreck because I love them both already. I just want to see if there's one that's better than the other in terms of longevity. All right, you guys, well, I will see you in just a bit. Hey everyone, it's 3:30. I did want to pop back up here to film this check-in here in my makeup room just to kind of compare, you know, the first clip with now, since we're doing such a good comparison. I did change. I've been shooting content with Lyric today, so I had to mix up the outfit. Okay, so I just looked at things and both foundations look great. Both of them are wearing beautifully. I do see that the Nars is starting to look a little bit shinier than the Makeup Forever Reboot, which is pretty interesting, again, because the Makeup Forever was more of the radiant finish, where the Nars was just described as being a natural finish. Yet I feel like this is definitely shinier than this side. What do you guys think? So at this point, I would feel the need to touch up the Nars with a little bit of powder, but I wouldn't really feel the need to do that with the Makeup Forever. So just something to notice. I am gonna go ahead and touch up both. Just to be fair, I'm gonna do the same treatment on both sides so we can really, you know, give them each a fair shot. I'm using the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Pores pressed powder, and I'm just very lightly blotting it on the face, not applying much. Okay, so that cut down the shine and radiance in both foundations. I'm gonna go on about my day and I will check in with you guys a bit later. So it's about 8:30 p.m. I've had the makeup on all day and I do have some thoughts for you guys. I touched up once all day after my first check-in, and that was with the Bye Bye Pores translucent pressed powder. I haven't touched up since then, and that was that 3:30 or so, I believe. So it's been, you know, a good 5 hours, 4 to 5 hours. And I want to give you guys my thoughts. So again, this is not a review on either of these foundations. I can already tell you I love both of these foundations. I think they are both beautiful on the skin. They really give a natural, like healthy skin finish and look to the skin. They have a nice medium coverage in my opinion. They both have medium, even though the Makeup Forever describes it as being light. I feel like it's a good medium coverage. And I think they're both great options for mature skin or dry skin, or, you know, just for skin that doesn't want to have a full heavy coverage finish, but you want to look, you know, flawless. I love them both. Now, it is interesting doing this comparison because, again, like I said, I wasn't expecting to dislike either of these. I already like them. We already know that. We already know they're both good. But in comparing the two, I found some very consistent findings. So the Nars, it is described as having a natural finish, where the Makeup Forever is described as having a radiant finish. I disagree with that. I think the Nars is definitely radiant. It has been radiant from the start, and it has continued to look radiant all day. And of the two, it definitely has more of a glow. I can see more shine here in the center of the face than this. It's not a bad shine, it's not bad, but it definitely is more to me than the Makeup Forever. So in terms of one being, you know, staying more natural looking and less shine, the Makeup Forever one would be the one that you would want to go with. But with that said, when I look at my bronzer and my blush on the Makeup Forever side, it's a little patchy. Like I can see little areas where the foundation has worn off. Whereas over here on the Nars side, it still looks really great and smooth. Overall, I'm gonna have to say that the Nars side wins. I'm gonna have to say that because even though I have a little more shine, it's not a bad shine. It's not bad. It doesn't look greasy or oily or anything. But in terms of it staying in place all day, it looks better. It looks better to me than the Makeup Forever, especially where I have other makeup products applied. So those are my thoughts. Again, both are really nice. I think if you're deciding between the two, I would say if you like a little bit more radiance, go with the Nars. If you like a little bit more natural finish, the Makeup Forever. In terms of coverage, you know, Makeup Forever says it's lighter. I feel like you still get a really great coverage from it. But yeah, I guess at the end of the day, I'd have to say that the Nars Light Reflecting would be the winner for me. I hope you guys found this video fun and helpful. I don't know, I thought it'd be fun to compare two of my favorite foundations and see which one performed better than the other. Well, I'm gonna head downstairs, wash all my makeup off, get to bed. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.